Hi, I'm coming to you today as a little animated version of me. Just kidding, I'm not really animated. I guess I'm kind of like in like an animatic version of myself. Anyway, I wanted to do a little review of A Quiet Place. I did get to go see it, and can I just say, I think this is going to be one of the best movies of the year. If you have not seen it, please go see it. Save this video for later, come back, because there are definitely going to be spoilers, because I don't know how to be quiet, okay? Sorry. Anyway, what I want to say with that is that this movie had me crying literally 10 minutes into it because of sheer beauty. I think that's another reason why I could not record this with myself in front of it. I'm so sick and tired of crying on camera in front of you guys. So if I do it as a drawing, that's fine. Anyway. That's what brings us here today, to this. Literally amazing. I think it did so many things, from establishing our characters and their already internal struggles in the regular world. Like, it did a really good job of solidifying where we were at, who our characters were, and like their story already. Like, I think being able to see the alien invasion from a different perspective other than the family that we've already been following along with did more than just cement us in the universe, but it also made this movie more than just a horror movie, which it was an amazing horror movie. Like, don't get me wrong, I am a big fan of sci-fi and horror. It did something really good there of combining the two, and I'll get into a whole like debrief on the monsters in just a minute. But what it did was it also became kind of the psychological thriller, because it really had you in your brain for a second, because, you know, you're going through all these other problems of existentialism and, you know, the fragility of life aside from an alien invasion. There are other problems that people were already having before the aliens invaded, you know, like health issues. And I think being able to see this invasion through somebody who is already on the verge of dying, you know, really shows us that there are more things to be afraid of than just the aliens invading. You know, we don't have a lot of control over how we die. So, I mean, at least if it's an alien invading, then it's kind of like fast. Then when you see how they attack, like, oh, that's something that they did a really good job of, is showing these like really, really sneak attacks. And in doing so, yes, it does follow a lot of that element of pop-up scare that comes with horror, but they also do it in such a clever way of, like, something that I always say is really hard to do with horror is not show us the whole monster but keep us afraid of the monster. Like Alien does a good job of this with, like, and that's another sci-fi horror movie, like they do a good job of this with the puppet by like not showing us all of it or even like most of it till like the end of the movie where we see the head, right? So something that a lot of like horror movies do is like overexpose the monster too fast, right? And then we're not as afraid of the monster as we could have been if they had held it off a lot longer. And that's what this movie does really well, is that suspense, because we do see elements of the monster throughout the movie. And when we are shown, like I would say we are shown maybe the full body of the monster at an early point of their invasion, but all we really see is their silhouette. Like, we see the silhouette. We don't actually get to see it, and that makes it so much more horrifying, I think. Like, there's so much that this movie does with just imagery. Like, that's what I was saying by, like, just that first 10 minutes of just sheer beauty, laying in the sea, and really, like, because I know what I'm coming in for. I know I'm coming in for a horror movie. I already have met these monsters. I know what I'm about to kind of face, but, like, kind of forgetting the calm before the storm and how loud, like, the peacefulness in noise, I guess. Like, we don't realize how much noise we use to calm ourselves until there's nothing. Until, like, we are left with the sheer silence, and we realize that, like, silence is also kind of not calm. Like, there is something to be afraid of in the silence at times. It means that there's nothing living nearby, and that's kind of an eerie thing, you know? Like, the noise of life is kind of something that you get to experience with this film, but it's also something to be afraid of. You know, it takes something that is beautiful and makes you afraid. Like, there's a scene where they're like telling them to evade to basically like get off the island of New York and Manhattan, right? But they like burned off the bridges, and they're having boat evacuations. And so everybody starts slowly making their way, right? But as people start to get comfortable, they start making more noise, bumping into each other, the slow and steady rise of that noise of life. And you just see our character, who is obviously not, she does not care about her life anymore. So she is moving against the crowd because she has other things on her mind. She knows her time is near. She has things she wants to say goodbye to that she still can't. Despite the fact that the world is ending, she is in a privilege of being able to say goodbye, maybe even choose how her demise will happen during this war with the foreign, you know? So what we see is this really eerie take on noise, and I think it just does a lot of good stuff for the film, and sort of like, as far as like tools go, for building up suspense, because we are exposed to these monsters and really still like images of like, not like still images, but like frames, like under the floor of like a car and the street, and we see their feet, we just see their head in between windows, we just see like these little, like, we're hiding and all we're seeing is this thing passing by, like we are also hiding with them. And I think they do a really good job of that with the imagery and everything. So if you have not had a chance to see it, definitely best horror sci-fi movie I've seen in a long time, but also I think just best movie of the year. I could not stop crying. One other thing, if you need to know, no, actually, I'm not even gonna tell you that. All right. I think the cat just stole the show though. And I think that's something else to look forward to, is just, you know, I think that usage of like animals and alien and, you know, showing us that we can live amongst creatures that aren't like us. Like we can coexist, and we can even find ways to continue to coexist with things that are against us. Like you start to see people taking on natural survival skills and like what people begin to learn and quickly adapt. You get to see that kind of like survival of the fittest really take place, because in our current day in life, our life is so regulated to help those who cannot help themselves. So in a time when everyone is for themselves, we see how quickly people turn against each other and how ugly that is, but also how quickly people adapt. But also, we still see these small moments of compassion for those who cannot help themselves, like our main character and somebody who she then takes up under her wing later. And I think seeing that relationship between her and him, it's like she meets somebody who was fresh out of school. He's like, this is not part of the plan. He's somebody who needs to ignite how to live. She is somebody who has already lived. And so we get to see them kind of like pass the torches to each other. Like she is ready for the calmness and stillness of like not living anymore. And he needs to go and live and be alive and get over his, not get over, but learn to control, learn to manage, and learn to overtake those things that like keep him from living, you know, how to learn how to help himself, essentially. So she basically gives him the tools to help himself, because she is somebody who is also in a place where she cannot help herself a lot of the times, but she has learned to help herself. So when she is put in a position where she cannot help herself, she feels weak and fragile and she does not like it, but she is also shown the same compassion that she has shown so many others who could not help themselves along the way. And I think it's kind of beautiful to see those like moments where we see the trade-off happen. I think it's like seeing a lot of full circle, and that's something that I really like to see in movies. So like I said, if you have not seen it, please go watch it. Definitely worth the watch. I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna start crying again, but definitely amazing movie. I think this was the best of the three. And the other two were already so good. So that's all I can say on that. I hope you guys like this. Let me know if you guys want to see more stuff like this. I'm probably gonna go watch Wolverine and Deadpool soon, so maybe we'll do a little thing on that. All right. Bye. Oh, and stay saucy, my friends.